In a village where the sun kissed the earth with a golden glow, lived a maiden named Adama. Oh, Adama was a sight to behold. Her waist was perfectly round, her shape was the envy of every woman, and her face was carved by the gods themselves. When she walked, the ground seemed to worship her feet. She adorned herself in the most vibrant wrappers, her neck and wrists heavy with beads and bangles that sang with her every move. She was what the young people today would call a slay queen. But underneath all that glitter, Adama harbored a secret. She despised work. The thought of fetching water made her skin crawl, and the idea of pounding yam made her sigh with exhaustion. Worse still, she hated personal hygiene. Bathing was a chore she avoided for days, and brushing her teeth, a forgotten ritual. Instead, she would douse herself in the most expensive, exotic perfumes brought in by traders from distant lands. For a few hours, she would smell like a garden of rare flowers. But soon, the sweet scent would fade, giving way to an unpleasant odor that made people subtly shift away from her. Adama loved the fine life. She dreamt of marrying a wealthy chief, a man whose riches would mean she would never have to lift a finger again. Many suitors came, drawn by her breathtaking beauty. They would bring gifts of cloth, yams, and palm wine. But as they got to know her, they saw the laziness that clung to her like a shadow. They saw the dirt under her fingernails, the slight odor she couldn't quite mask. One by one, they would politely excuse themselves and never return. The village elders would shake their heads. "Beauty is not enough to cook a pot of soup," they would whisper amongst themselves. But Adama's beauty was truly legendary, and news of it traveled on the wind, reaching the ears of a wealthy merchant named Chinedu from a neighboring kingdom. Chinedu was a man who had everything: gold, land, and respect. He was so captivated by the tales of Adama's beauty that he decided he must see her for himself. The moment he laid eyes on her, he was lost. He saw only the perfect shape, the enchanting face, and the alluring scent of her perfume. He was blinded by her outward perfection and proposed marriage almost immediately. Adama's joy knew no bounds. Her dream had come true. The wedding was the grandest the village had ever seen. Drums beat for 7 days and 7 nights. Chinedu whisked her away to his magnificent compound, a place with more rooms than she could count. Finally, Adama thought, she could live the life she was destined for, a life of pure leisure. In her new home, Adama's true nature blossomed like a stubborn weed. Her beautiful wrappers lay in heaps on the floor. The kitchen, once a place of bustling activity, grew silent. She refused to cook, claiming the smoke would ruin her delicate skin. She refused to clean, saying the dust would spoil her fine clothes. Her days were spent lounging on plush cushions, admiring her reflection in a silver mirror. When Chinedu returned from his long business trips, he would find the house in disarray and his beautiful wife smelling not of flowers, but of neglect. He was a patient man, and he loved her dearly, so he hired a maid to handle the chores. Soon, Adama became pregnant. Chinedu was overjoyed, hoping a child would awaken a sense of responsibility in his wife. But he was mistaken. Adama complained throughout the 9 months. After a difficult birth, she held her baby boy, looked at him with disinterest, and declared that breastfeeding was far too demanding. She hired a wet nurse from the village to feed her own child. The baby's cries were tended to by the maid, while Adama slept soundly in her chambers, undisturbed. Chinedu's heart grew heavy. The beautiful flower he had married was wilting before his eyes, choked by her own laziness. His house, once a home, felt like a hollow shell. News of the situation reached Chinedu's mother, a wise and formidable woman named Mama Ezine. She had watched from a distance, her patience wearing thin. One day, she arrived at the compound unannounced. The sight that greeted her made her blood boil. The house was untidy despite the maid's best efforts. Her grandchild was being cared for by a stranger, and her daughter-in-law, Adama, was busy applying oils to her skin, oblivious to the chaos around her. Mama Azine decided enough was enough. She said to her son, "Chinedu, a pretty pot that cannot hold water is useless. This house needs a woman, not a doll." Without another word, she traveled back to her own village. She returned a week later, but she was not alone. With her was a young woman named Neka. Neka was from the village, known not for dazzling beauty like Adama's, but for her grace, her kindness, and her incredible work ethic. She was beautiful in a simple, earthy way, with a smile that could calm a storm and hands that were skilled in every domestic art. Mama Azina introduced her simply. "This is Neka. She will be staying here to help." Adama scoffed. What did she need help for? But she was too lazy to argue, and so Neka stayed. The change was immediate. The moment Neka stepped into the house, it was as if a fresh breeze had swept through the stale rooms. She rose with the sun. The sound of her grinding stone was the first thing heard in the morning. The aroma of delicious hot soup soon filled the air. She cleaned the compound until it gleamed. She took the baby from the wet nurse and cared for him with a tenderness that melted everyone's heart. She would sing sweet lullabies to him, and his cries turned into happy gurgles. Chinedu started coming home early. He would find his home filled with warmth and the laughter of his son. He would eat Neka's delicious meals and feel a sense of peace he hadn't felt in years. He started to see a different kind of beauty, the beauty of a caring heart, of capable hands, of a gentle spirit. He looked at Adama, lounging in her room, and for the first time, he saw not a goddess, but an empty, beautiful shell. Adama watched all this with a growing sense of dread. She saw the way Chinedu's eyes followed Neka. She saw the respect and gratitude he showed her. She saw the love her own son had for the woman who was not his mother. Jealousy, a feeling she had never known, gnawed at her. She tried to compete. She put on her finest clothes and her most expensive perfumes. But Chinedu would only glance at her before turning his attention back to the happy sounds coming from the courtyard where Neka played with his son. One evening, Chinedu came home to find a perfectly clean house and the most fragrant stew he had ever smelled. He found Neka in the kitchen, her face glowing from the firelight, humming a gentle tune. His heart made its choice. He walked over to Adama's room. She was painting her toenails, the scent of her perfume clashing with the smell of the delicious food from the kitchen. Quietly, Chinedu told her, "Adama, I married you for your beauty. But I have learned that a home is not built with beauty. It is built with love, care, and effort. This house has become a home again, but you are not the one who made it so." The next day, Chinedu gave Adama a generous amount of gifts, cloths, and beads, and had her escorted back to her father's house. Her reign as the queen of his compound was over. She had been replaced not by a woman more beautiful, but by a woman of character. Neka, the humble village girl, became the true queen of the home, cherished and loved not just for her looks, but for the beauty that shone from within. And the moral of this story is a powerful one. It teaches us that true beauty is not just on the surface. A beautiful face and a fine figure are like the flowers of the field. They are lovely to look at, but they fade quickly. Character, kindness, and diligence are like the deep roots of a mighty tree. They are what hold you firm and provide nourishment and shade for years to come. A person of good character is worth far more than a person who is merely beautiful on the outside. Thank you so much for joining us for this story. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to African Folktales and English Stories for more wonderful tales. We'll see you in the next one.